How to save a dying retirement plan. That's what we're going to talk about here today at the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. So if you have any concern that your retirement plan might be in dire straits, stay tuned because I'm going to show you how to save one. So welcome aboard, my friends. If you like what we talk about here, don't forget to subscribe down below. And then, of course, if you subscribe, hit that bell to be notified for future content because we do a lot of stuff here at Heritage Wealth Planning. So let me just move that out of the way. All right, so let's dive right into this. I want to share with you a case study of a real-life couple who obviously their names will be protected to protect the innocent because they're a good, salt-of-the-earth, innocent people. Just led astray a little bit in some, I wouldn't even say bad, well, some maybe bad financial planning. Nothing nefarious. I think it's lack of ignorance more so on their previous advisors and or accountants that's bothersome. But we've all been there. I was a financial planner with many years before I really knew what financial planning was. So we've all been there for sure. And I don't want to say anyone did anything to these folks that, again, was uncouth, if you will. But when it comes to your financial plan, ignorance is still, like these folks said, they don't know what they didn't know. And now it's kind of coming back to biting them in the butt. So the premise there, they moved from an expensive state down to Florida. Now, they were able to pay cash money for the house in Florida. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, that's good. Because they sold their house in an expensive state. They had a little bit of money in 401k. They had some proceeds from the house and things of that nature. But they don't have any other money. I mean, literally, they have Social Security, and that's it. And so they're sitting there saying, oof, it's going to be tough getting by. And the whole point they came to me is because they say, look, man, we need an extra $500 a month. We're getting by on about $2,500 a month now, $2,400, and we need $3,000 a month. And we got to get $3,000 a month or else we just won't make it. And that's all inclusive. Thankfully, they don't have a mortgage, but that includes their health care, their Medicare Part B and Part D. Includes their food. They have a small student loan. Well, not a small student loan, but they do have a student loan as well, which actually irks me. And so they're just trying to get by. I mean, a husband and wife, both 68 years old, trying to get by. And they're like, what do we do? All right. So we got them. And again, obviously these aren't the right people, but they do live in Florida. And that's all you need to know about them. But anyway, as you can see here, their net worth actually is not even that because they do have a student loan in there. And I accidentally deleted it by accident, but the student loan is $100. So there's $80 a month is on the income-based payback period. I actually don't believe they have a student loan obligation because their income is they have no taxable income whatsoever. But they're honorable people and they want to pay back what they borrow. So it's important for them to pay at least a minimum, and they'd like to pay $100 a month. So that would be part of the $3,000 a month that they're trying to accumulate or trying to accomplish here. $3,000 a month of income. So you can see their net worth consists of, well, I'll show you right here. We got Jane. She's got an IRA or investment account. Actually, that's an IRA, a variable annuity. They got a joint account, the proceeds of the home they sold. And then John's got a Roth IRA. So their liquid net worth is $166,000. Their primary home is $150,000. And that's going to play an important thing here later on. So their total net worth is $316,000. All right, that's what they have. Now, when we look at their profile, a couple things happening here. We want to go to income. All right, so here's their Social Security. It's $608 a month for Jane and $1,008 for John. And here's my trusty calculator. So between Social Security is $1,616, $1,616, and times that by 12. That's $19,000 a month. Now, they were paying Vanguard a 0.35% investment management fee for the Vanguard Financial Planning Services. And Vanguard, long story short, they had these annuities over at Vanguard. They had variable annuities that they wanted to cancel, and Vanguard just had no option for them other than they weren't giving them just feedback. And so they got kind of frustrated. And finally they said, look, we're just going to, it wasn't with Vanguard. The variable annuities were not with Vanguard. But they did get frustrated simply because Vanguard wasn't getting any help on the variable annuities. Finally, they called in and they told Vanguard, we need something to happen here, else we're just going to pull all of our money out. And Vanguard, finally, this guy happened to pick up the phone, I guess. It's, whoever answers the phone, I don't know how it works over there, but this guy did good. He said, well, you ever thought about annuitizing your annuity, your variable annuity that you have. And they had no idea what annuity was, annuitization, a SPIA, a single premium income annuity. So Vanguard, actually, this guy, and I forgot his name, but the guy served him right. And thankfully, he got on the horn because the other people did not. And that's the problem working with these big box financial planning firms is that they just have limited options to offer you. Unfortunately, they just don't. And I don't fault Vanguard for it. I don't fault the individuals they spoke to at Vanguard. It's just a model. I mean, the reason Vanguard can charge 0.35 and offer you comprehensive financial planning is because everything's rote. It's by repetition. It's by boilerplate cliche plans. And that's not good, especially when it comes to you, because you are not rote, you are not boilerplate, and you are not a cliche. Your plan means something. Anyway, of course, no one's going to touch these people at the 10-foot pole unless they manage $1 million bucks for them. That's another thing that drives you crazy about the financial planning industry. You don't have $1 million bucks, so I can't work with you because I only work with rich people. Screw that, man. All right, so at least Vanguard was there for them, even though they don't have $1 million bucks. And Vanguard finally did serve these guys right by annuitizing. So what else they have is they put a bunch of money into a SPIA, a single premium income annuity, which pays $8,400 a year, and I think that's what $700 a month. Is that right? $8,400 a year divided by 12. Yeah, $700 a month. So you got $700 a month plus their 1616 in Social Security. That gives them $2,300 a month, and they need more than that. All right, so that's not good. So that's all they got. Now they don't have rent. That's good. So let's go to their expenses, and what you'll see here is they got monthly expenses. That's pre-retirement. We don't want that. We want goals. So we got expenses of healthcare costs as Medicare Part B and Part D is going to run about $5,000 a year, and that's pretty much spot on. And they got Medigap as well. So Part B, Part D, Medigap is about $5,000 a year. We don't budget anything for long-term care costs because if they do need a thing, they're going to have to go on Medicaid. So we're not budgeting anything for that. They did want a budget legacy at $200,000. That wasn't going to fly, so I got rid of that. They will need to replace a vehicle at some point, but I zeroed that out for the time being because we got to start with something, all right? And they also had a vacation goal of $2,000 a year. So they're not trying to live large here, that's for sure. So they need $3,000 a month to live on, and they'd like to have a car at some point and within 5 years to replace a 12-year-old jalopy that they have now, and they'd like to take a vacation. Imagine that. Now, that's living large. But I zeroed these out because what we're trying to accomplish here is we're just trying to say, okay, let's just make it happen for you first to make sure that you don't run out of money. And then if you don't run out of money, we can add to these things as we go. So let's start with that premise. And they agree with that. So that's what we're looking at. We already talked about their expenses. This is pre-retirement, right? Yeah. So we already talked about their expenses. They're not saving any money, and we already talked about their income. All right. So now when we go to retirement, this is what we get here. We don't look good. We get a 21% or 31%. What we got current plan? We got basically a 35% probability of success under. Oh yeah, we want that right there. Bear with me just a second here. I got to change that back. I was messing around with it. 2372 is what they're proposed out. So either way, we got, that's not enough. 2372. All right. So, that's 36% probability of success. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. All right. So 2372 is simply the amount of money they have for living expenses. So 2372 is going to be living expenses. So we take 2372 times it by 12. That gives us this right here. We add a housing expense of $1,800 plus we add healthcare of $5,000, and that's why I got that 2372 to get that $36,000 a year income. So with 2372, which gives us $3,000 a month in income. I just cut myself bleeding. Weird. All right. So with 2372, they only have a 36% chance probability of success. And if you go to confidence here, does not look good. Look, the median stops in the year 91. They don't have any money left in the median. And remember, the median is 50% above and 50% below. And then we start getting even into the early to mid 80s, and there becomes a possibility that they run out of money even there. Now we're in the 5. This is the 25 right here, the 25 to 75% chance. So even here we have a 25%, more than 25% of running out of money when they're 87 years old. And that's not good. So this right here is not good in the least where we're sitting at. So what we'll do is we'll put this in two different parts. So I just wanted to present to you the plan so far, and then I'll stop here and give you a scenario of how we can change it to make this look better. Okay, so real quick, we're going to go to cash flows. We're going to see their income flows. We have IRA required distributions, but we have net flows over here. They're losing. I mean, they're diving into their savings at a clip of the high four figures, then the low five, then even the high five figures is their net flows. But watch this. Their accounts go to zero. And at 91 years old, they got nothing in that taxable account. And then they got nothing in their IRA or their Roth IRA. They run out of money. Now, we have them both live until they're 95, which may be on the far end. But actually, the woman is in pretty good shape. The husband doesn't seem to be in that great of shape. But that makes it even worse, because when the husband dies, she's going to lose her Social Security and gains his, and yet her expenses aren't going to go down that much more. So it's just not a good position, not a good place to be at all. So you got to find a strategy in which to change this stuff. And last, let me just show you their investments actually before you move on to the second part of this. So right now we have them invested. Let's go to net worth. Bear with me just a second here. Right now we got them invested. They got 166,000 of liquid assets, and I'm just using for a proxy the Vanguard Life Strategy Growth Fund. So that's 70-30 stock to bonds. So not all that conservative, that's for sure. The variable annuity, we just have it in cash. I don't know how to, we can make that something else. But for the time being, that's going to be the first account we probably tap into for liquidity, because we need some liquidity. I mean, we got to have some liquidity where they can tap into if they do need to fix the roof or they need an air conditioning unit or something like that. Because the house they moved into in Florida, it's older. And so there are going to be things that break, and we want to be able to tap into some of this stuff. And then in her IRA, I also put it in the VA SGX, the Vanguard, just a proxy. So essentially the variable annuity is our first cash account that they can tap into. Then we go into her IRA. And lastly, we tap in this account right here. And obviously we'd like to tap into the Roth later on down the road. But that's how they're invested. So it's not like they're invested poorly in terms of they have everything in a CD or cash under the mattress. It's not. All right, so let's stop here for a second. We're going to come back to part two, and what you'll see is I'll show you exactly what I told these folks and how you can use this to maybe increase or save your own retirement plan. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, Tom.